Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by our number one news provider, Eswatini TV. I am Nondumiso Vilagati alongside Zamanzi Manze, and here are your top stories. His Majesty King Eswatini III has instructed chiefs to teach respect to the nation and further urged chiefs to maintain order in the communities. The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says laying the foundations for increased climate adaptation and mitigation in Eswatini's agriculture sector calls for cross-sectoral approaches. 11 judges and the acting deputy public prosecutor have been sworn in. The news. His Majesty King Eswatini III has instructed chiefs to teach respect to the nation and communities. His Majesty the King spoke at Ngabezweni Royal Residence during a ceremony where the King blessed 50 new chiefs. The event was graced by their Royal Highnesses Banfabe Nkosi and the Prime Minister.
The King of the Mamba clan, King Maloi, chiefs and Tindvuna received royal blessings from His Majesty King Eswatini III in a ceremony that underscored the sacred role that chiefs play in keeping the nation grounded and rooted in culture and tradition. 8 of the chiefs that were endorsed by His Majesty the King were from royal kraals that are based in South Africa. The chiefs received blessings from Her Majesty the Indlovukazi before proceeding to Ngabezweni Royal Residence to receive the final endorsement from the King. His Majesty instructed the newly endorsed chiefs to go the extra mile to maintain respect in communities in the country. His Majesty began by emphasizing that blessings from the King are final.
Kushothi ke nalabo kumbe lebeke kumbe bebangane kuthemba ukuthi kumbe ngandeka kube ngithi kungendeka kube ngithi inkosi naseyibusisile isuke seyicedzile sekwe ukuthi ke kusale kusetshenzwa nalaba ngoba nenkosi ngeke ikhulume ngemaphimbo lamanyelo namhla ikhulumile kuyasa ikhuluma ithi ikhuluma kanye nje kube sekuphelile bekunene kuthathwe lokuhlonipha ngoba abantu sebafuna kulahla tindvo lenhle ngoba kulahla inhlonipho kufuna kuba libhova akusidi lokho ngoba emabhova akavami kuphelela ngesigaba lesingiswa aphela kakhulu kabe emabhova lokho ke akusimvo lekufuna sikhutsate singemaswati lobubhova lokufuna kukhutsatwe ngilenhlonipho ngoba nemuntu umhlonipha ngoba ahlonipha Geja nakachama ngalibhova kufanele ube libhova nawo ngako ke sisi ke hambani nibobabe tikhulu nebantu abenkosi netindvuna nahambe nofundzisa inhlonipho kangwane ngoba la kangwane bevele ikhona inhlonipho ingakalahleki wonke uyahlonipha inkosi iyahlonipha indlovukazi iyahlonipha abantu abenkosi bayahlonipha ikhulu uyahlonipha nesive ke sonke asihloniphe bekunene noma ngabe niyawukhanza ukuthi kumbe bakhona bebangavumelani nani nase bafikile emehlweni ukuthi babe siqhube ngeke ubabuke ukuthi ingani netolo beninje uyawubathi usa sife senkosi bese uyabathatha ubaqhube nembala nesebende nabo kubonakala ukuthi live litokwakheka bekunene.
His Majesty wants chiefs to double efforts to bring back the culture of taking care of orphans.
Namuhla ke emiphakathini soyokhanza sekwaba nalaba lahlekelwa batali sekwasala tinsanzane kunabo gogo kunabo mkhulu labanye sokhanza sebahlala bodwana sekude lonjani umphakathi wekunaka bonke labo ukuthi ke aw lapho kunetalukati kunebumkhulu sekunebantfana labancane labatinsanzane ngesikithi besatithi nokuthi kude insanzane besathi ukuthi lo kuthiwa uyinsanzane ikhona indlunkulu la kunalisa khona ukuthi ke noma ngabe kuthiwa aw weswele angaswela njani ikhona indlunkulu ngoba indlunkulu iliso lenkosi ingumlomo wenkosi ibuka konke lokwenteka kwemangweni ukuthi konke kuhamba kahle.
What was extraordinary about this year's event was that the king presented the chiefs with letters of appointment. This was a rather unexpected development that was received with excitement and gratitude. Also making remarks was the acting governor of Eswatini, Themba Gininza, who advised the chiefs to treat the citizens with respect, while the chairman of the Eswatini Council, Chief Mdlaka Kametse, assured His Majesty the King that the council was vigilant throughout the processes of identifying the rightful candidates. At Ngabezweni Royal Residence, I am Sandile Makanya for Eswatini TV News.
In the same event, His Majesty the King instructed chiefs to maintain order on how homes and other structures are built in communities in order to avoid demolitions.
Njoba naku nje nibusiswa nembala nekwewe ukuthi ke nelive nisale niligcina lenkosi ngoba naso ukhanza ukuthi nali live nalo seliphelile nje uma ukhanza ukuthi ngilo naye bese ufuna ukuthi anganzise libandla langakami kungene ke ukhanze ukuthi lokunye akusangeni nangendlela nangekuhloniphana ngoba nawo ukhanza lena ukuthi kwakuhlelisiwe emiphakathini nje ukhanza ukuthi kwahleliswa kwabekwa ukuthi ongala makhaya ngala madlelo ongalapha ngilasta ubuka khona imisebenzi lokumqoka ukuthi ke nifike nibuke tonke leto tintfo leto kubonakala ukuthi ke aw nangabe kubonakala hayi bese uthi hawu lo sengifikile ngala noma kusiwadlelo hayi sengidawubeka likhaya ngalapha sesitolo cha mina sengidawubeka likhaya loko kukahle lokho ukuthi lo hleliso lolukhona njengoba nalo nje lisafanele lithuthukiswe kakhulu ngoba lo sesikubona sesiyabona emakhaya awutindlu lesitisukumile tiyabonalisa ukuthi daka nokusho ubona bogesi ubona ema LED tikhanya ngala nangalapha ubone ukuthi awu setindlu leseti vele tisho kona ukuthi sesifike ka first world tindlu ke letinjalo njoba tina kwengiyo imiphakathi bantu abenkosi tikhulu netindvuna iyafuna lendlela yekwekwe ukuthi nakutawubekwa lelo khaya kube nale order ngoba uyawukhanza ukuthi nangabe kumbe sekwabekeka kanzi ukukhanzasa ukuthi hawu lendzawo inemsebenzi longuthi nase uthi hey la wakhe khona wena akukakheki ngendlela uyawukhanza ukuthi lo muntu njoba wabe khokha imali wenda kwekuthi nekwekuthi tingakanani naso uthi akuduthubulwe kuba into lelikhulu ngoba nembala uyukhanze ukuthi le mali iba inkulu ngiko ke lokho ukuthi ke kungakakhiwa kumqoka lokho ukuthi kuvele kube nekuhlolisisa kahle ukuthi lokhu takwendeka angeke ni kuhambe emva kwemalanga kube netinkinga.
The Minister of Agriculture, Judicial Mabuza, says laying the foundations for increased climate adaptation and mitigation in Eswatini's agriculture sector calls for cross-sectoral approaches. The minister has been speaking during the launch of 3 climate change readiness projects funded by the Green Climate Fund.
In 2014, 194 United Nations member states established a Green Climate Fund to allocate resources to low emission and climate resilience projects and programs in developing countries. On Thursday, the Minister of Agriculture hosted a stakeholder meeting to launch the country's 3 climate change readiness projects funded under the Green Climate Fund. The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, said the cost of timely adaptation to prevent climate change-related disasters is far lower than the cost of response to an occurring disaster.
Adaptation remains our priority, as it was in our first nationally determined contribution, NCD. In the agricultural sector, adaptation strategies under implementation are centered on the climate-smart agriculture, which includes the minimum tillage system of crop production, conservation agriculture, protected cultivation, drip irrigation, fodder conservation, and others.
Climate Change Program Coordinator at the Ministry of Tourism, Ketsiwe Kumalo, said the Kingdom of Eswatini has already mobilized 4.7 million malangeni from the Green Climate Fund.
We are now expected to actually move from readiness, because the assumption is we are now ready almost to move now to investment, concrete projects on the ground. And this is a high call for us as a country, and I trust and I believe in the commitment and the capabilities of the stakeholders that you are going to drive us there.
Countries under the fund can access the funding amounting to $1 million per year, whereas the Kingdom of Eswatini has 6 climate change readiness projects funded by the Green Climate Fund. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samgal Siwekosa Kumbuzo Dlamini, Eswatini.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, has officially opened the Power Pack Africa factory, which manufactures bottles, caps and handles. Power Pack Africa invested 50 million malangeni in this project.
Of Power Pack Africa from Taiwan, and the factory has been operating for 20 years in Mozambique. Its manager Alin Cheng elaborates about the products produced.
Our main product, as you see, there are bottles, preforms, caps, handles, which can be applied for water, beverages, vinegar, cooking oil, etc. Our goal is to not only supply the kingdom, but also the nearby regions.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, says he is pleased with Power Pack Africa localization program.
You have a very good program for localization. Being a foreign company, it's exciting to see that a lot of the machines are already operated by Eswatini. And we believe that as you grow, you've told me that you've got about 30 people already hired, and you're hoping to hire up to 60 people in a couple of months. And we believe all of those positions will be dominated by Eswatini, and we want to say, it's a very strong relationship that we as a country have with the Republic of China on Taiwan, and seeing investments from your country come through is a vote of confidence in that relationship.
Power Pack Africa started operating in the country in the year 2021, but it was delayed by COVID-19. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Skumbuzo Dlamini Matsapa. The Minister for Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, today opened 2 deep tanks at Mkazini and Sitsageni under the Pondo constituency in the Manzini region. Mabuza says the construction of the deeping tanks was funded by the government's Regional Development Fund.
Siyasebenza siphumile kuthatha amathuba kusebenzisa imali yelive lena lesibida ngathi RDF.
It is great to see that Eswatini are making use of the service of the Regional Development Fund to work on projects that develop their lives. I implore the people of Mkazini and Sitsageni to take good care of these deep tanks so that they can have them for a very long time. I also want to reiterate that may farmers commercialize their livestock. Chief Sikunusa Dlamini of Mkazini Chiefdom says the construction of the deep tanks means their livestock will be healthy as they will be free from parasites. This is big for us because as a Maswati, livestock, cattle in particular, is our bank. The currency that cattle holds has a value chain that has sustained livelihoods for years. Cattle can be sold. It also gives us cow manure and many other things. The Minister for Agriculture also appealed to dog and cat owners to vaccinate their animals for rabies. Mabuza says on the last vaccination drive, there were a few dogs that were brought to vaccination sites, which is a major concern because rabies is a fatal disease. Sifiso Ngumalo for Eswatini TV News, Mkazini.
His Majesty King Mswati III has appointed 11 judges and acting director of public prosecutions Lomvula Hlophe. This announcement was made by Chief Justice Bheki Maphalala.
The appointed judges include 3 from the Supreme Court, Mbutho Mamba, Jacob Margrethe van der Walt, as well as Judith Maria Carey. Sabelo Masuku is appointed High Court Judge. Andreas Likele has been appointed Industrial Court of Appeal Judge. Judges Mzugayise Mosa Velaphi Dlamini as well as Lungile Msimango have been appointed Industrial Court Judges. Meanwhile, Judges Mabandla Dlamini, Tami Dlamini, Banele Ngamphalala have been appointed acting judges of the Supreme Court, High Court and the Industrial Court respectively.
A backlog Industrial Court currently over 2,000. And ke logo akusiko acceptable lokho kamanchi sinabo manchi laba permanent laba ngu-25 bancane kakhulu ukuthi bangaliseta live kungako nje sesinabo acting magistrates laba khona at least nangathiwa sinabo manchi laba jake ekhulwini singakhona kusebendeke bekunene nenzaba ema capital projects siyayiqhuba eminyakeni lotako kufuna kusetshenziswa inzaba kwakhiwa kwe Supreme Court sinayo indzawo yokuyakha sibuke inzaba yokusebenza nekwakha Industrial Court ne Industrial Court of Appeal sinayo indzawo yekwakha bese kubukwa nekwakha inkantolo yakamanje letaba nema-courtrooms lamanenge ebuhleni minister nayo yasibambisa kunene ukuthi kubukakale ukuthi kwakheke tinkantolo letinye takamanje kalavumisa kahlathi emankayane eBhunya eluve longu DPP Director of Public Prosecutions akaphili kahle kulamalanga usahamba bodokotela kunene ingwenyama ibese ibona kufanele ukuthi ibeke Lomvula Hlophe.
The Chief Justice says despite the appointment, there is still a shortage of judges, magistrates, as well as public prosecutors. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, High Court.
The Deputy Prime Minister's Office Principal Secretary Melusi Masuku says increasing the multi-hazard early warning systems and disaster risk information can be very key in preventing or reducing the social, economic and physical impact of disasters. Masuku said this during the commemoration of the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction.
The National Disaster Management Agency is under the Deputy Prime Minister's Office, speaking during the commemoration of the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction. The office's Principal Secretary Melusi Masuku says the commemoration is premised on the framework target and focuses on the need to substantially increase the availability of and access to multi-hazard early warning systems and disaster risk information assessments to people by 2030.
A people-centered multi-hazard early warning system empowers individuals and communities threatened by hazards to act in sufficient time and in an appropriate manner to reduce the possibility of personal injury and illness, loss of life, and damage to property and the environment. All stakeholders should work together to ensure that multi-hazard early warning systems operate as expected.
United Nations Resident Coordinator Deepak Shak says disaster early warning can help to save lives.
Early warning by 24 hours can cut the ensuing damage by 30%. Making investment in early warning is more urgent than ever as climate change continues to cause more frequent, extreme, and unpredictable climate-related hazards.
National Disaster Management Agency Director Research and Early Warning Eric Sayama says a 2018 country's early warning research shows improvement as compared to the one conducted in the year 2014.
Between 2014 and now, there are some kind of collaborative kind of activities where people where maybe institutions co-produce kind of this early warning.
During the commemoration of the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction, it was revealed that Eswatini is most hit by disasters like drought, cyclones, among others. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Ezulwini.
ESCOM Chief Executive Officer Mvilawempi Dlamini says local internet providers have an obligation of ensuring that every Liswat has access to reliable and affordable internet. Dlamini has been speaking when the Commission was awarding general licenses to 3 entities.
To continue to improve internet access in the country, the Eswatini Communications Commission (ESCOM) has issued electronic communication services general licenses to 3 entities, namely Digital Technologies, Climatech Investments, and Worldwide Communications. Speaking during the handover ceremony, ESCOM Chief Executive Officer Mvilawempi Dlamini said the Commission expects all licenses to compete fairly and uphold the competition principles enshrined in the Competition Act of 2007 and the recently issued Eswatini Communications Commission Fair Competition Guidelines of 2019.
And we trust that the introduction of these will continue to stimulate growth in the sector and afford the Maswati the best services, especially in this era where COVID-19 has made all of us realize the role of the internet services.
Sipiwo Dlamini, who is the Director of Worldwide Communications, speak on behalf of the companies and thank ESCOM for granting them the opportunity to contribute positively to the Eswatini's economy.
We do make a promise, Mr. CEO and the Commission, that we are going to ensure that the necessary speed and at a very cost-effective service is delivered to the public, and to empower all Emaswat in terms of employment and also to make the internet accessible to everyone.
ESCOM has now granted 18 electronic communication general licenses. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samkel Suyokoza with Sikumbuzo Dlamini. Babane.
Dear viewers, now take a look at our financial updates.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV, and for sports news tonight, Minister for Sports says cycling sports plays a crucial role in attracting tourists in the country and also grows the economy of the country. Therefore, the cycling sport must be given full attention. The minister, who was represented by the Undersecretary in the Ministry, Nani Kimnisi, mentioned this during the launch of the 2022 MTN Keman Classic Road Race at MTN Eswatini offices in Eswatini.
MTN Kemani Cycling Club, in collaboration with their title sponsor MTN Eswatini, have launched the 2022 MTN Kemani Classic Road Race. The Minister for Sports, who was represented by the Undersecretary in the Ministry, Nani Kimnisi, highlighted the importance of the cycling as a sport.
Not only that, cycling is a huge tourism booster in the country, and it attracts both domestic and international tourists, thereby contributing to the country's economic growth. At this point, I would like to acknowledge the crucial role played by the sport in general in the country's national development. I would also like to appreciate the private sector, MTN specifically, for the investment made in cycling and other sports such as soccer, golf, among others.
Wandile Mchari, the MTN Eswatini Chief Executive Officer, mentioned that their sponsorship is a sign of encouraging Eswatini to keep active using cycling as a sport.
The Road Classic has created much needed recognition, I think not only at Eswatini, but also within the region. So this is really a very important cycling event that we believe that it is going to take this country forward. We've also witnessed, which is very important, an increase in the number of cyclists from ladies.
Zwide Ngumaro, the president of Cycling Association, says the MTN Kemani Classic Road Race has proven to attract both local and international cyclists as a sign of its growth.
Our mandate is to holistically develop our sport, putting more Swazis on bicycles, and work towards getting Swazis on podiums around the world. Cycling is a very popular sport in the country, yet there are still some challenges that we have to overcome if we are to witness the development of a true cycling culture in the country.
Other speakers during the launch included the Mangayane Town Council and the MTN Kemani Cycling Club, who called all the cyclists in the country to attend the race in their numbers. The race will be on the 13th of November at Mangayane. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Zulwini.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, we'll take a quick recap of today's headlines.
His Majesty King Mswati III has instructed chiefs to teach respect to the nation and further urged chiefs to maintain order in the communities. The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says laying the foundations for increased climate adaptation and mitigation in Eswatini's agriculture sector calls for cross-sectoral approaches. 11 judges and the acting deputy public prosecutor have been sworn in.
That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.